start with yourself. You get to, particularly in the last 18 months or so, you get to be involved in plenty of good days with Ireland. Was Saturday right up there from your own point of view?
Yeah, Saturday was brilliant. Obviously a really physical, tough game, and to come out with the win, and obviously things didn't go to plan at times, but the resilience we showed across the board was unreal. So yeah, it's up there. It was a brilliant night, one I won't forget for sure. And
from your point of view, and for Cian as well, like, I think there were a lot of questions maybe about the depth Ireland have in the front row. Do you think you answered a lot of those questions at the weekend?
Sure. I don't know. I just focus on what I can do and work really hard at that, and try and improve myself and improve my game as much as I can. And I wouldn't heed too much attention about the outside stuff. I just try and keep my focus pretty narrow and in the moment. So I suppose, yeah.
Cian, Andy spoke after the game about Finlay, and he said that in the last 18 months or so, almost every time he's played, he's improved and he's improved. How have you seen that over the last year or so?
Probably think it's gone longer than that, isn't it? Really, like he's had his targets and things that he's been working on for, I would say, a good bit longer, and you've seen the progression, and I felt it having to go against them in scrums in particular, and then play around the park. He's become one of the cogs that makes it all work pretty well, and it's been a natural fit. Like, it's not something. I don't think it looks like he's trying to do something that's not his style or anything. He's really natural at it, and it's great to see.
Cian, you've been in squads for a very long time now. Where does this Irish squad compare to previous?
Like, they're all very different and all different characters, but this is probably one of the most enjoyable squads I've been in across the board from the beginning. It's cultured around people being themselves and allowed to express themselves, working unbelievably hard when we're working, and enjoying each other's company when we're off. And I think what the coaches and staff have done is really good, in a sense that it takes the anxieties out of unnecessary areas for us, and when that's gone, all we have to do as players is do our detail work, and that's done in a positive way, because we're sitting with each other doing it. People aren't sitting in their room reviewing on their own, worrying about things. We chat through things. Everything is an open forum, and I think all of that sort of stuff just leads really well into people being comfortable and everyone feeling like they're a real part of what's going on.
Finlay, will you be hoping for a start this weekend, and what do you expect from Fiji?
Oh yeah, of course I'd love to be involved, whether it's number 318. That obviously every time you pull on the jersey, it's a really proud thing that I get to do it, and I genuinely just love it so much. So hopefully, fingers crossed, be involved. And obviously Fiji, they've shown a really good scrum, especially against Scotland, in particular the first half last weekend, and then over the internationals during the summer. They have some big boys up front, and they're well drilled up front. So we're gonna have to meet that challenge head on. And we had a tough scrummaging session there. We have another one tomorrow. So yeah, we'll be ready to go for Saturday.
So the two of us are a little bit tired here.
Yeah. Is the mentality different when you're starting as opposed to when you're coming off the bench?
Well, it has to be, yeah. You have to prepare yourself differently. You have to think about how you're going to stay in the game when you're on the bench. It's something I've been working really hard on, because I spent majority of my career not in that position, and then now in that position I want to be able to be as impactful as possible in all the right ways and add positivity to the team. So when it's a constant learning curve now, like, about coming on, but having seen things that have gone on in the game that you can give a message or you can directly do yourself that's going to have a positive impact. And it's been an enjoyable learning curve. I've loved it, and I've bounced off a lot of the back rows, to be honest, because they're just like, they're always in and out and changing, and asking them how do they deal with it, and what's the solution when you're drifting or when you're thinking something different. And it's been real good help having people there to kind of guide me along as well.
What did you make of their Razzie Erasmus video? Did you see it?
I did see it, yeah. It's not for me to comment.
I mean, just in general, or do you think it's a good thing for the game, for coaches or people in the game to be criticising referees like that?
What are you looking for?
No, it's a general. You know,
I think social media is a dangerous place. I got in trouble for stuff on social media before. I learnt my lesson. I don't know. That's all I can say on it. It's my personal experience.
Keith, just on those learnings you spoke of there, is there anything you do differently now? Obviously, having all the experience you have, is there anything you do differently to prepare for a game or in recovery?
Yeah, you have to pick up extra fitness sessions here and there, and make sure you're on the ball with that. Around the mentality of the game, not really, because you're thinking about your impact, and your impact has to be the same whether you start or sub. Around the nutrition side of it, I would have learned a lot. In the beginning, I would have eaten like I was on the bench, so not had the same load of food, and I got caught off guard once or twice having to come on early and not having the juice in me to finish it out. So as a nutrition side of it, I'd still now fuel to start a game, and then that's where you have to pay off your dues in the gym then on the Monday and cycle it out, or do a bit of fitness just to burn it back off what you didn't get done.
You said this is one of the most enjoyable squads that you've been a part of. How would you describe Andy Farrell as a head coach?
That's a hard one. He's very caring, I think, for all the lads. The way he approaches it is very thoughtful about how the players feel and how his staff feel, and I think we get that from him. We understand that, and it kind of just, it's part and parcel of tying everyone in together.
And is this one of the most competitive Irish squads you've been a part of?
Yeah, probably is. Yeah, there's a lot of shots for competition, and the standard is through the roof. So yeah, it probably is.
Do you feel that as well? I mean, obviously, coming into the team, obviously the A team that are pushing as well. So do you feel that competition for places?
Yeah, 100%. Like last week, we had 50 lads in, and training was very intense. Lads are trying to prove a point, and I suppose just touching on what Church said there, the competition and training's through the roof. You have to be on it every rep you have, and certainly that's pushing the lads around us and making the team better as a whole. So the competition's brilliant at the moment.
Cian, do you feel that this is one of the most adaptable Irish sides, as in before you might have done very well against certain teams but not so well against other teams? Now it seems to be across the board, you can handle anything that's thrown at you. I don't know. I think we've been probably, in a sense, yeah, we've been well drilled on a lot of different areas in training. There's not one main focus that you do or anything, and I would also say the clubs have been at a high standard like that. The clubs have dealt well with different forms of attack and defence, and you know, you come in from club to here to be polished off a bit more. You're not necessarily starting from scratch when you come in here. So everyone's being tested in all different ways, and then when it comes back to that, sitting down as groups, you're bouncing ideas off each other and how to deal with this, how to deal with that. I think
the micro chat across the group with that about solving problems has been really good.
Do you think that you'll have to learn to live now properly with the world number one tags, as in that's something, the next stage of evolution, that you have a right now to be called the best team in the world because you've beaten all before you?
Don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, looking at Fiji,
I personally, I would tend not to look at that sort of stuff. I wouldn't take a ranking into account because I don't have a medal for a ranking. That's how I look at things. With your preparation, though, you're preparing to be the best version of yourself, and if everyone prepares to be the best version of ourselves, we should continue to grow.
and just finally on that then with Fiji the weekend, very different test to South Africa. Is it just as important to make sure that you get the job done against a side like Fiji, who might not be on the same level as South Africa, if we're looking ahead to something like a World Cup, to be playing these different types of teams at different levels?
100%, yeah. We have a standard of what's acceptable and what we want to achieve and go above, and what's not acceptable is to let that slip. What's not respectful is to let that slip also. You know, we need to respect our opposition and what they're going to bring, and we need to, by doing that, we need to bring our A game and put out our best performance. And I think with that mentality, you can use it across the board for whoever you play against.
A question for both of you, starting with Finlay. You talked a bit about the competition. The front three, the side three seems very settled. Do you view yourselves as backup players, or do you have ambitions of breaking into the starting 15, in particular a World Cup on the horizon?
Of course, yeah. Like, you're always pushing, like Church said, you want to be the best version of yourself, and obviously Tog's a world-class player, and he's a British Lion and everything like that, but you know, I need to be pushing him and making him better, and then making myself better as well. So I wouldn't see myself as a backup player, but I can fill that role, and look, I just keep pushing myself and finding new limits to where I can go, and we'll see what happens.
Sorry, just for Cian as well, do you feel training alongside Ty is making you a better player as well, that competition?
Yeah, 100%. Tog's been very good to me. Like, we started working together, obviously been playing together, but when we've been up here in camp, I work a lot with him in terms of reviewing training and preparation and everything like that, and just kind of bouncing ideas of him, learning from him as best I can, and asking him questions about like what he would do better there if he was me, or you know, little things like that. And you know, we catch up most nights and sit down for an hour or so and go through training, go through scrums and all that fun stuff, and just bounce ideas of each other and have a really good conversation about things. And for me, that's been an area where I've got a lot of growth from, so I'm very thankful to him for obviously letting me in.
Okay, how do you view your situation?
Pretty similar. I view it with a growth mindset, and about how hard I can push Jeremy and Andy, and what I can get from myself in doing that. I have a lot to give to them in what they can learn about the game, and I'm working on best ways of messaging that to the lads, and how to not just blurt stuff at them. But at the same time, in doing all of that, I have to drag the best out of myself and be in a position that, if called upon, and I'm there to do the job. To me, that's the fun part of it, the competition week in, week out, and pushing for the top spot. Because if you lose that drive, there's no point in being in here.
And just one very quick follow-up to that. You're the most experienced player in the squad in terms of caps. I think you're only 14-time driver, I just suppose the most cap player Ireland ever had. Is that an ambition of yours to maybe become the most cap player? Have you thought about that?
I could have 200 caps and no medals, and I don't know where I'd be happier. I think I'd take another 5 if I got some more silverware for it instead of another 20. So I think a cap number without reward is not so important.